Chickens! Chickens underfoot. I'm not wearing my normal shoes, so they're like all into what I'm wearing. Hey guys, welcome back to Reach and Reverie. Guess what? It's finally fall here in West Texas. So we got a little bit of an early freeze this year. So within about 3 days of that freeze, all of the leaves just started plummeting from this pecan tree above me. And look at the floor. We are covered in leaves. We also got a whole lot of pecans to pick up as well. The pecans this year are only about a quarter of the size of what they were last year. I don't know. Is that because of the early frost or maybe because of the crazy drought summer that we had this year? Maybe it was a combination of those things, but either way, we're gonna enjoy what we can get off of this pecan tree this year. I wanted to give you an update on some of our chickens that have been molting quite a bit lately. They are all doing really well. All 9 of our chickens are really healthy, thank goodness. And it's very peaceful around here this time of year. I think they like the cooler weather. Chickens do a little bit better in cooler weather than they do in hot weather. And let me tell you, it was a hot one this summer. Out of our 9 chickens, little Dua, Yasha, Myrtle, and Mary have been molting. And they are looking a lot better than they were a couple weeks ago. You can see Yasha here, she's growing her tail feathers back. And Myrtle, where'd all your bald spots go? Where are you going? She's gonna go peck at my pants. I have little gems on the back pockets of my pants. Myrtle, you are looking so much better. You don't have any little bald spots anymore. Your new feathers are pretty. She's doing good. Hey, Miss Ariel. What'd you find? You found something in the dirt? Hey. They've been pecking on you? You got a couple scabs. Yeah? They pick on Miss Ariel a lot. Ariel and Do It. As the days get shorter, it's completely normal for your chicken to do an annual molt. That's when they get rid of all those old feathers and they grow a new set of feathers fresh for the next year. I feel like I need to give a shout out to little Dua, Molly, Pip, and Ariel because throughout this whole process, they haven't skipped a beat with laying. A lot of times as the days get shorter, your chickens will stop laying completely. We've been really fortunate because a lot of chickens completely stop laying through the winter to give themselves a little bit of a break, and it gives them a fresh start for the next spring when they start laying again. And we've been consistently getting 4 eggs a day here on our little homestead. It is still pretty early in the season. It's still fall. I'm sure by the time we get into the heat of winter, we won't be getting any eggs, but we'll take what we can get while we can get them. Let's head out of the chicken yard and into the dog yard. And I want to show you what I've got cooking over here. I've been working on a little project the past couple weeks. So all of these little starts that we have are frost hardy. I have some butter crunch lettuce. I actually bought these at a farmer's market to help support local business, but all of the rest of these I started from seed indoors. They're about 3 weeks old. I have some cauliflower, some mesclun lettuce, some spinach, onion, kale, sage, some pansies because I love flowers, and some artichokes, which is super exciting. We also have a little bit of rainbow chard back in the corner. I started these indoors just because it's still getting really hot outside, and now we're kind of getting into some cooler weather, and I think that these are going to do pretty good. I have been leaving them outside at night when it's in the 40s, things like that, and they have been doing really good. They're really thriving. Now all of these plants are pretty frost hardy, so they should be able to handle it once they're mature living out here full time. I might cover them with, you know, a plastic bucket or a cloth like a bed sheet whenever it gets really cold, but I think that these should survive the winter. Once these little guys are old enough, I am going to move them into these pots. I think I'm going to put the artichoke in this big 2-foot pot because he's gonna need all the space he can get. Artichokes get huge. I'm starting my artichoke in the winter because in the area where we are, I think it can survive the winter, and with the cold weather that it gets, I'm hoping we can trick it into blooming its first year. Most artichokes, it takes 2 years before you even get a flower. We're gonna see if we can get that sped up just a little bit by tricking the system and growing it a little earlier and letting it go through a little light frost during its first few months as a seedling and get it flowering for us. We'll see. I like to experiment in the garden. If it doesn't work, what did it cost me? A seed. So I'm gonna try it and we'll see what we can get over here. All of these guys are doing so good. I did fertilize them for the first time this weekend, and I think I'm gonna fertilize them in another month, and we'll see how big we can get. I just fertilize with simple bone meal and blood meal. I try to keep it as natural as possible. Then if we come over here, this is the pot that I had my bell pepper in and my vinca flowers. And what I have growing now in their place is some early purple sprouting broccoli and some red romaine. They're doing really good. This time of the day, it's hard to see, but this red romaine is a brilliant burgundy color. It looks really nice. I have some volunteer plants. I don't know, but I'm thinking these are vincas. If it freezes and these die, we'll know that it's vinca. So hopefully they'll hang in there for a little bit. I did plant a little bit of kohlrabi in here, and I think that's what's coming up in the middle, but we'll have to see once those true leaves come in. And this pot next to it, this is where I had my nasturtiums and a watermelon plant. I have carrots in the middle, some beets, a ring around it, and then on the edge I have radishes. And those are just now starting to pop up. I have them covered with this cloth to try to keep them from washing away too much, and also to keep the sparrows from eating my little seedlings. They love radish sprouts. I do have a really beautiful orange zinnia that's hanging in there. Anytime it gets really cold at night, I try to bring it inside because I love these pretty orange flowers. So I am gonna try to keep this going as long as I can. I tell you what, this was the best dollar I think I spent this year. I bought it as this little tiny little pot, $1 clearance at my local garden center. And look at how big they are, and they've just been flowering all season long. So anytime I need to deadhead these, so when the flowers start to die, I pick them off. I'm gonna try to save the seeds and grow some more of this pretty orange zinnia next year. I can't wait to take my seedlings that I started indoors and transplant them into those pots to hopefully provide us with some fresh homegrown food throughout our winter months. We have been getting some cooler weather, you guys. It is usually like in the 40s every morning when I get up, and it has been getting up to about 70 degrees in the afternoon. We do get a cold front for about a day once a week at this point in the fall season, but we're really enjoying it. If it's warm outside, I'm out there in the sun letting the chickens out. If it's cold outside, the chickens like that too, and we're just embracing the season as it comes. Let me show you our new rooster on the farm. Ha, not a real rooster. Can't have any of those right here yet, but he's watching over our ladies. Thought it was cute. Hold some birdseed for us. And I also wanted to show you guys in my back garden what I have going for the winter. Now, I just planted these yesterday. I went ahead and I amended the soil in this bed. None of the fall crops were successful that I tried back in late August. I had a video about it where I planted this with fall winter crops, and what happened was, what did sprout, the birds were getting to. We have a lot of wild sparrows and doves, and so they were eating any of the sprouts that came up, but also we were dealing with roly-polies, and the roly-polies were eating the roots before they were able to be strong enough to support a plant. So what I'm hoping is that after that hard freeze that we got, I haven't seen any bugs. So I'm hoping that with a combination of efforts, I can successfully grow some fall and winter crops. I think I started just a little too early for the area where we live in. There was still too much pest and predation pressure for that to be very successful. So starting again in mid-November, I waited, and now that I'm not seeing any real bugs crawling around in here and under the soil, I planted a row of onions, a row of beets, a row of carrots, a row of kohlrabi, and a row of turnips. And then I covered it with this bird netting. It's like a fine net that lets the sunlight through so they can get as much sunlight as they can, but it stops, hopefully it'll stop the sparrows from pulling up those little seedlings. And I'm also hoping that the roly-polies are not going to be active during this cold time of the year, and hopefully we can get a successful crop out of this garden bed. The other garden bed I am leaving alone for a little bit, and I'm just going to let it sit over the winter, kind of let that matter on the top decompose, add a little bit of nutrition back into the soil, and just kind of let it rest. I'm going to heavily amend this probably in the spring, add some more compost in there, maybe some more peat moss, and anything that hasn't decomposed by that point I'm just going to pull out and probably burn, and then get going. I already have a plan for what I'm going to plant in these beds, what I'm going to plant on the trellises over here. So y'all guys are just going to have to stay tuned. Gardening season, whew, almost fell. Gardening season in 2021 spring is going to be epic, so gotta stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, checking out my girls with me and seeing what I'm up to in the garden. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned so you can see more videos just like this.